Welcome to the podcast. It starts with you, with me, Vicky O'Farrell. I ask my guests, by understanding their own behaviours and personality style, what impact on their lives, both personally and professionally, has there been? What is it like to live and work with someone of your style? I mean, this is not about labelling people, putting people in boxes, or an excuse for bad behaviour. It's about recognising, understanding and respecting that we're all different. And what impact can you have on others by looking in the mirror? Because it starts with you. Welcome to another episode of It Starts With You with me, Vicky O'Farrell. And I've dragged her out from behind the desk. I am joined today by the fabulous Liz Rowlands. So just to give you all a little bit of context, I met Liz 2016. Was that your graduation? Please remind me. Yeah, it was 2016 when Liz graduated from Man University at the same time as my wonderful stepdaughter, Shannon O'Farrell, now Shannon Skidmore. And then, you were amongst thousands of people there. I remember it just being really busy and really hot. God, that was a really hot day, wasn't it? So hot. Oh, and then in that wonderful thing that we had called lockdown, I needed to rebrand. I needed to change the whole business and not the focus of what I did, but I just needed to stand out. And I remember speaking to Shannon, and I said to Shannon, I need to do some rebranding. I just don't know where to go to because it's not something that I'd done before. My logo before was just something just made. But I thought I really need something that somebody could do me like a whole branding piece, not just the logo and everything else. And Shannon said, why don't you speak to Liz? And so we did in lockdown, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And here you are. You've been on this journey with me since we did that 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago now.
I know.
Wow.
I know. It's madness, isn't it? And actually then, well, we then met each other again, didn't we, at Nick and Shannon's wedding, which was fabulous to see you. But you've not, well, I mean, it started just by doing the logo. And then you did me a what do you call it? Branding guide?
Brand guide, yeah.
A brand guide.
That's a strategy to use your logo
Yeah.
properly.
Actually, I put a few things out there that didn't have the right typeface on it, or I didn't use the right colour. And what would I do?
You get a little message going, Vicky, have you used the right typeface there?
Exactly, keeping me on brand. And that's the thing. I think most people, when they're, especially when you're an entrepreneur running or a solopreneur and you're just running a small business, you can't do everything. You've got to realize what is your skill set and what is not your skill set.
Mhm.
Because I know logos, branding, all that kind of stuff just isn't me. I mean, you've just done me a 2-page speaker document, haven't you?
Have you?
I tried to do that myself on PowerPoint. I don't know why. I don't know why. I thought, oh, I could just knock something up. I think after about half an hour, I was just like, why have I just not given this to Liz? And there it was. You made it look amazing. I could not ever do anything like you do. That is your skill set. But you love it, don't you?
I love it. I love doing all that sort of stuff and just bringing brands to life. I think this is where our industries marry each other because I see branding as a personality.
Yeah.
And then understanding personalities and how they speak to people is really helpful for my industry and what I do. So it's been really fun.
And that's the thing. So you've worked with me for 5 years,
Yeah.
and for the last, well, this is going to be episode 37. So this is the last 2 years we've been working on this podcast together, haven't we? Because obviously you were there at the very start when we were actually designing the name and the logos of the podcast and what it's going to look, the whole look and feel of the podcast. So you've listened to an awful lot and you've watched an awful lot because you do all the editing.
Hmm.
So, um, what have you learned anything from it? What have you learned from it? I mean,
About 2 pages. Quite a lot. Very interesting podcast.
so in terms of your own personality, you're very much on the people side of things, the very yellow and the very green. So depending on whether you're feeling in an outgoing mood or in a more reserved mood. And
Yeah.
That's whether you're with your friends, I guess, or whether you're in business.
Yeah, I think I fluctuate between the two. I I would like to say that I probably merge into more friendly side of business than a professional side of stuff, and I think it's worked in my favor a little bit because people can relax with me a bit more, don't feel like they're being sold to, which I don't like selling. So I just tell them what I think their business could do to improve. And yeah, so I think my personality's kind of paid off in that regard of just yeah, a chatty, people orientated, wanting to make everybody happy kind of person. So
Well, it is, and it's like, I never expected when I said to you, can you design me? The name we'd come up with is Queen of Behaviours, and I had something completely different in my head than what you designed. But when I opened it, I was like, wow, oh my God,
yeah.
I love it. And I suppose that's the thing is because you interviewed me about what do I stand for, what does my brand stand for, you put that into you put that personality into the whole design and look and feel of it. And it, honestly, everyone that I talk to and everyone's, oh my God, I love it.
I think for my dissertation at uni, I actually wrote it about the personification of branding. So how people relate brands because of emotional attachment to them. So if you think about, let's say, Doc Martin, it's linked to the punk, and that's a whole movement in itself. And if you think about, well, who is a punk person? They've all kind of got something in common, which is like they want to be rebellious, they like the same sort of music, they like dressing a certain way and just being very shocking. And then you've got like people that shop at M&S. You've just pictured who shops there, haven't you? So that's my job. So when you think about Queen of Behaviours, who are you thinking of? And it's classy, it's personable, it's creative, it's not rigid, it's bright and red and bubbly, and that's everything that you are. So I've personified that into your branding.
I guess it's all about it's the person, isn't it? It's all about behaviors. It's all the people things, as opposed to like what I would say tasky stuff. So you've just shown me two scribbly pages. So for those who are listening, I asked Liz what she has learned, and she held her book up, and there was lots of writing on that book. Um, so we only record this for half an hour. I mean, I think maybe this is going to be the start of a new thing. Maybe we need to do this every 6 months or something, and actually reflect back on what you've learned. So maybe pick out a couple of them on there because there might be people who are watching and listening that think, oh, I'll go back and listen to that one because I haven't listened to it yet. In terms of whether it was learns or light bulb moments for you or things that you really resonated with, what would you say?
I'd probably say, if I'm going to jump around, just pick a few. Episode 7 with Sharon Launton. How opposite personalities can be perceived as rude. So she did an example of walking into the office and all the chatty yellow people, and then there's the people that are quite reserved and just want to crack on and are very internal thinkers and internalizing their workload and what they need to do. Then they're not very like not like me, like I just waffle on for ages. I outwardly think.
Yeah.
Which my partner is the opposite of me. He internalizes everything. So he gets very annoyed with me sometimes when I'm just going on. He's like, well, you get to the point. So her point was the same with the office workers. And I have worked in offices that are the same. It's like, oh, they're so annoying. All they do is talk. Why can't they just crack on? And then the same thing as well. Actually, they're going to get stuff done. They just need to get that out of their system to then figure out a solution. So it was very interesting to hear like, yeah, that is a personality type and understanding personalities in that regard of no, you're not being rude. That's just how they're processing. And once you've understood that, you're not thinking of him like, oh well, I
Yeah.
won't swear, but you know what I mean.
It is. It's the our unconscious bias. We go along life thinking that everyone's like us. So, you and me, but we just chat, 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 chat away. So if your partner Ryan was in the room, he'd be thinking they're so annoying because all they do is talk. But that's like you say, that's our thought process. That's how we
Yeah, And I think it resonated with me a lot as well because I take things as if somebody doesn't want to have that long conversation with me, that they don't like me or
Yeah.
that I've done something wrong. And it's not, it's just like they're going, oh, right, okay, I've took that information on board. I want to think about it. And that's how I process it. Whereas now I understand that a bit more. It's like, oh, it's not like everybody just thinks about themselves the most. Nobody else is thinking about you. And I think that understanding of, yeah, they're just processing it a lot differently. So that was an interesting episode for me.
Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed that one. Is there other things that you could share?
Um, oh, it's like picking what sweets you want from
You're not picking your favourite players on the team because we can. So I definitely think with that much writing, we'll have to do this again. I think it's a good way to do a reflections.
Peter Edge, episode 11.
Hmm.
He was the policeman who headed a lot of important teams within the UK police force, and his perception of it, of seeing people for their personalities and talents and placing them and seeing them as people was really wholesome and heartwarming because you see businesses today that are just run by running their people to the ground, just forgetting that they're actually human beings with like their own personalities, their own issues, their own family, their own background, their own wants and desires. And he's actually asking, like, what do you want from this? What's your goals? Are you going to leave in 5 years' time? I want to know so I can help you get there, not, oh, I don't want to jib you off and find somebody new. That was really like, yeah, that's how all businesses should be run. They should all be run of like, how can I help you get to where you want to be? And then that kind of that message passes on to that person if they have a business, if they go into a new role and they have somebody underneath them they can have that same like thought process of how can I help this person like Peter's helped me. And I just think that it was just a chain reaction that we all need to be trained in and have that thought process of instead of thinking, how can I be the better manager? How can I help other people help outwardly, not inwardly? And that was really, yeah, that was really nice that episode.
That's really, really key, like you say, in today's world where everything is just at such a fast pace, but looking outwardly, not inwardly. I like the way you've reflected that back. In terms of, I always thought to myself, when I run teams, if I had someone that wanted to leave for a promotion, it was like, absolutely, how can I help you get promoted? Because I think that actually reflects on me as a good manager, because the fact is you want to be promoted and you're doing a good job. If you've got high churn in your team, as in, lots of people leave, you might want to look at your own behaviours because there could be something you're putting out there that you don't know about.
If all your staff are going off sick, nobody communicates properly with you. They just go, yes, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and then just crack on. You're not doing your job as a manager. You're not there to be a dictator. You're there to be a leader, and a leader is someone that helps other people up. You hold the hand out and pull them up. You don't stamp on them to make yourself look better, and that's a leader. And I think a lot of people, no, I don't think people do it intentionally. I just think people haven't got the skill set to do that or understand what it means or how to do it. And I think sometimes their ego comes into it or they just feel a bit overwhelmed and like this reflects on me if they do badly, so I need to trickle that down to them. And I think, yeah, that's where your personality profiling comes in really, because then you can understand like, oh, Fred down the road, he's not just overly chatty and not doing work. He's just trying to process how to do stuff and his way of communicating is and feeling better about his work is to communicate with people in a fish tank or is it fish tank? It's think tank, isn't it?
See a fish tank.
Or in a fish tank yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're
yeah,
right. It's that whole. That's why this podcast is called "It Starts with You," and that's why I always say to people, it starts by looking in the mirror at your own behaviours because I can't change anyone else's, but what I can do is if I understand. And I mean, everything that I talk about is behaviours. The baseline is personalities, and then it's all those other things that we put on top of it, our lived experiences,
yeah.
our emotional intelligence. You've learnt loads by working with me, About the fact that you talk about you now know that your partner Ryan is the polar opposite to you. Yeah.
So, and I think that brings me to my third one that I'm going to pick, which is John and Andrea, to episode 24. They're a married couple. They are hilarious and just so lovely to watch and just, yeah, just watch them be a couple when they're talking to you in that episode. It's just, I bought their book from that episode and I listened to it. And one of the things that they put in their book, which was really interesting and helped me with my relationship, not just with Ryan, but with other people, is one of the points was how are you filling up their bank account? So they put emotions into bank accounts. So are you withdrawing or are you depositing? And all the deposits are how do you make that person feel heard, loved, respected? And it made me think like, am I doing that in my relationships or am I just withdrawing all the time to the point where I'm in an overdraft? And to think about, I'm a very visual thinker, as you, my job says everything, doesn't it? Um, but yeah, it was like, oh my God, that was a light bulb moment of, am I being very selfish in my relationships? And I don't like to think of myself as a selfish person that's just take, take, take. I want to help people. Like my whole job is around like helping people's businesses grow, helping pe people feel better about themselves, not just in my job, but in other aspects. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not depositing. I'm always thinking about like, oh, I'll go visit him to make me feel better. I'll suggest that we'll do this fancy meal because I like it. And I think sorry, he might like it too. But actually, it was like, oh no, Ryan doesn't like doing that. Or I don't know, my friend doesn't like doing that. I'll ask them, what do you want to do? Or do you want me to just listen today? I won't give any feedback. You know, when someone offloads on you and then you think, I've got a situation I can relate to. I'll tell them that story and they're like, I don't care. I just want to offload. And I just feel like you're trying to one up me with your problems that you've had. So yeah, that episode where they're talking about, I think they have like a seven strategy as well.
Yeah.
That was really interested in it because they weren't always sunshine and rainbows, and they're very open about that. They were literally on the brink of if we weren't married, we'd be just like separated, and that was very interesting because, as you know, like relationships do take a toll, and sometimes friendships break completely because you're just not having that communication or going, hold on, take my emotions out of this. What am I doing in this situation? And yeah, that was so fascinating.
Mhm.
So fascinating.
Also in relationships though, sometimes when things are going wrong perhaps and when there is a challenge coming up, rather than like you say take the emotion out of it and then talking to the other person and saying right, let's have a conversation, you've got to take that emotion out because when you come at it very both emotionally high, you're never going to resolve. And what I also find is that some people talk to other people about the issues in the relationship and they just like you say they just I'm offloading over here about this relationship and it's like well hold on a minute, that's not the right person because that person can't fix it. You need to talk to the person. I mean, there's times, even in our relationship, isn't there? And over the last 5 years, I found that if say I've given you a piece of work to do and I didn't get back what I wanted, I actually reflect on what did I actually ask you? Because you've given me what you've internalized and interpreted it as. And then suddenly it's just a bit like, actually, can we just jump on a call? Because it's so much easier for us to have a conversation like this. I mean, apart from the fact that you're in the north and I'm in the south, it's not so easy to see each other. Or we drop voice notes to each other because even just by dropping a voice note, you can hear in my voice, I'm not annoyed or upset with you. It's just actually, Liz, I didn't get what I wanted, but I think that's because I didn't give you the right instruction.
Yeah. And I think likewise if you're not responding to me, I know to give you space because you're feeling overwhelmed. Like when you went through that period with like yeah, you were moving house, the thing with your dad, and then there was other things that were cropping up. And I was like, I need this from you, Vicky, because I think I was building your website at the time or something. And you were just weren't replying to me or you were being quite short. And I thought, no, she needs space. This can wait. If she wants it, she'll come to me. And I think not bombarding you give you probably made you feel a bit respected and like not back off, like leave me be. You'll get paid when you get paid kind of situation. It was like it was yeah. It's like it doesn't matter. I'm more bothered about how you are and
Yeah.
how you're feeling. Because this website's not going to be good if your mental health isn't good. So,
Yeah, I was making some change because I think you'd already done the website and then I was making some changes to it. And you're absolutely right. That whole move, and then that's when Dad passed away as well, was just not a good time for me. But I also know when I'm under pressure, I go very red. And I think that's the thing is because we've also got each other's personality profiles, I know your style, you know my style. And I think it's very much that whenever I work with anybody, I need to understand the baseline. The basics of your personality, which is that stripping away all of the other parts of your life. But as long as I can understand your drivers and your motivators, like you say, I know if I know when you've been quiet, and I think, okay, you've obviously got some stuff going on, Liz. You're probably in very more green mode. You probably don't want to share it with me because you don't feel like you want to overload me with the stuff that you've got going on in your life. And it's about that respect and space.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm very much of I have to set a boundary with myself because I will tell you my whole life story. And there's got to be a line somewhere, hasn't there?
I'm telling quite a lot of your life story.
No, we all know.
We do know.
That's my point.
No, no, no. And it's like, some people are just like, but that's the difference in terms of being people focused or task focused. Task focused people don't want to share all of those details, And so when you're working with someone who's polar opposite, you'll be thinking, yeah, but I'm sharing all this stuff. Why aren't you sharing it back with me? And it's like, that's just not that style. So
Oh, yeah, it's very interesting.
yeah. No, and I'm really pleased how much you've learned over the last 5 years of working with me, and especially doing this podcast.
Yeah. I think everybody should have their personality profiled, to be honest. Not just to like, oh, how can I work better with other people? Understanding why you are the way you are. When I think how I had my profile done with you, it was kind of like I was going through a transition in my business of working with clients that weren't working with me. Um, and it turned out it's because the complete opposite personal style to what works with me. I was working with somebody that was very high red, didn't have any, not that reds don't have empathy, but he didn't have that outward approach of, oh, how am I making them feel if I speak to them this way? It was very like, I want this done, and why aren't you getting it done? And for a yellow person like me, I'm like, oh my God, he's so mad at me, and why doesn't he want to talk to me? Maybe he doesn't like me, maybe he hates me, maybe my work's rubbish, and that's why he doesn't want to work with me. And we just clashed, and the relationship broke down. And I think once I had that profiling done, it was like, oh, he was this way. He wasn't a bad person. He was just that's how he worked. And he was very like, just give me the bullet points. And I was like waffling on to him, like, oh, I think we should do this. And I think it'd make your business look this, that, and the other. But really, I needed to tone that right down and be like, right, I think you should do this because X, Y, and Z. And he'd be like, right, yeah, cool, crack on. And I think once you've understood that, no, and then it played off in relationships as well, of like they're like I always use Ryan for example because he is the complete opposite. And once I understood me, I understood him because I was like, he's not social one bit. And I used to get so annoyed at him, like, why don't you just want to go out? He's like, well, because it drains me. What do you mean it drains you? Like talking to people shouldn't drain you. And I was like, oh, it drains him because that's not what's filling up his cup. Filling up his cup is sitting, thinking, processing, having me time. And I'm like, I need to get this out because if I sit and think all day long, I'm just going to fester and I'm going to pop.
Yeah.
I need to have an outlet and then people fill my cup up, whereas people empty his. And
Yeah.
then we've got to work out a balance. So yeah, personality profiling is, I think everybody should have it, if I'm being honest.
And I absolutely agree. Because I know my whole work before I actually started all of this. I was thinking, God, I must have irritated so many people.
Mm.
I even had one client, I remember when I did radio sales, who said, I just bought from you to shut you up and get you out of my office. Oh, really? Because I was like, why did you never buy another campaign? And it's just like, because couldn't, you were just too much.
Yeah, we need more honest people like that. I think sometimes it's like, oh, thank you for being so honest with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Times, yeah, respectfully honest, not rude.
Yeah.
Not
No,
so
absolutely.
annoying.
But it starts with you. by
Yeah.
looking in the mirror at your own style and you're owning your own impact in the world. Because let's think about it. Behaviours are contagious. What do you want people to catch?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Liz, this has been amazing talking to you. I'm just looking at the time in case people watch this and go, why does she make that funny face at the end? I have
Yeah.
very focus on, so I need to move my head. I think we should do a reflections podcast more often now. What do you reckon?
Yeah, because I keep pausing to go, have I got enough time to waffle on another like 50 minutes? But yeah, I think we should break it up into segments, to be
Yeah.
honest.
And then you can reflect back on some of the stuff that you've learned, because also listeners, what viewers, you might have thought, oh, I didn't listen to that episode or that episode or that episode. Let me go back and have a listen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want another waffling episode of how we've learned so much from this podcast.
It's not a waffling episode, and I'm just delighted that you've come on and you've been a guest, because I know it was something that you went, I'm really not comfortable.
I am the behind the scenes. I am not front of what do they call it? Front of shop, is
Yeah,
it?
front of
Yeah,
house.
front
No,
of house one. Yeah, no.
but I'm delighted to have helped grow that comfort zone a little bit more. You might go and do some more podcasts.
Yeah, you've got to do difficult things, or else you'll never grow. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Well,
having me.
my pleasure, listeners. And if you want any more details from Liz, then obviously go to the show notes and you'll find all the details. Bye for now. How has this conversation had an impact on you? What have you learnt? What will you do differently? Do leave a review on Apple or Spotify on It Starts With You podcast. And also leave a comment down below. Do also then connect with me on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. And why not even join the Facebook group It Starts With You and keep the learning ongoing. Thank you for listening.